For joining us on TVC Breakfast. It's not time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. The Nation newspaper says results transmission. Senate, House disagree on real time. Harmonization of versions begins and Red Chamber okays e-upload to IREV. The Punch newspaper also talks about the Electoral Act amendments. Opposition protests as senators back manual results transmission. The Guardian newspaper, INEC under spotlight as Senate shifts ground on e-transmission. Nigerian Tribune, Senate okays e-transmission of election results, manual backup, increases numbers of conference committee mixed transmission 40 article saying that. And the Nigerian News Direct, Senate under fire over election results, transmission ahead of 2027. Uncertainty could erode trust, voter turnout. Nigerian Guild of Editors as Atiku, PDP fought mixed results transmission. The Blueprint newspaper also weighs in on the matter. Electoral bill, Senate bows, okays e-transmission of results, manual backup, reconstitutes harmonization committee. This Nigeria says e-transmission results, yes, then no. Senate in dramatic U-turn or vote pass as rowdy session, INEC to transmit electronically and manually when hitches occur. The Observer Times, Atiku to opposition, unite against chaos of mixed election results transmission. And the Business Nigeria, the Business NG is saying Lagos and Abuja housing costs soar. Tenants struggle as rents outpace salaries. The Platform Times, Nigeria retains position among world's most corrupt nations. Transparency International reporting that, saying ranked 36th globally despite slight drop in overall score. And the Help newspaper, Electoral Act, or we say Rivers Crisis, what Tinubu told Wike Fubara at peace. Investigation as FCT Minister Governor depart State House in same vehicle, a lot of drama. Sport and Life, Ndidi risks losing 10-year EPL feed. Anderson set to smash Nigeria's record. I'll be doing this with my colleagues. Etoma, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Ria and indeed Olamide Odekule. All right, then let's get down to brass tacks. Etoma, if you look at the Nation newspaper and indeed all of the papers, we'll try to look at different angles of this Electoral Act Amendment Bill. I think it's going to dominate our conversation on the show all through today. If you look at the Nation newspaper, it's saying results transmission, Senate House degree, Senate and House disagree on real time. Harmonization versions begins. And then if you look at the quote, the presiding officer, according to the Senate version is saying the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IREV. The House version, lower chamber, saying the commission shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IREV, operational term, real time. And the Electoral Act itself that they are, having forth and back over, that's the bride, saying that, listen, the presiding officer shall transfer the results in a manner as prescribed by the commission. That's according to the Electoral Act 2022 version. I think it's section 60, within that. So I do not know, what do you make of, this debate?
I don't see a big difference between what the Senate is saying and what the House Representatives is saying. One is saying the presiding officer, the other one is saying INEC. The presiding officer is INEC. And because the INEC building will not be in polling units, the representative of INEC in the polling unit is the presiding officer. So there's no controversy there. Yeah. Where there's a little bit of a change is what the Act itself says. But when you look at it again, the Act is almost saying the same thing. It said you will transmit this thing according to what is necessary, what is available on ground.
That's right.
Now, this wouldn't have been a controversy. It wouldn't have been a controversy. Semantics actually played a big role in this thing. The Senate, after what the House of Representatives did and said, okay, go ahead and do it and all that, and the Senate says that, okay, there are some places where you won't have network and this and that. It would have just gone ahead and say, go ahead, use the IREV where there's network, and when there's no network, we use the forms and we do the manual
Absolutely,
thing.
that's actually what they decided upon. But then if you look at the House version, and what they are fighting over is the operational term real time.
If there is no network, real time is not possible, and we're not going to manufacture it.
Yeah, and even talking about real time, you know, we don't realize, or probably we are not taking cognizance of the fact that we do not vote. You know, electronically. Do you understand?
Course,
you have to get accredited using the beavers and all of that, and then there has to be collation. So one thing we are missing out is that after the collation or after the counting, you know, from the ward, which we normally do, is for us to, you know, upload to the IREV, and then take everything all together from the ward to the local government, and then the state level collation center. I do not think we should be having any forth and back over this, because we know the peculiarity of this nation when it comes to network service.
And, you know, Ibrahim, for me, I worry why we let the conversation got to where it got to with all the protests, because I feel like it wasn't even necessary. There are decisions that need to be taken.
No, I think it's beautiful democracy.
I don't have a problem with protests, but I'm like, they're protesting for something that, you know, should just be done, that it didn't need for them to protest, you know, because at the end of the day, look at the decision they made. Okay, you know, we'll have the real time, but also we have the manual to back it up, you know, because the manual now is like a backup just in case, you know, the technology fails us. You know, oftentimes we had Mario Dotti. Remember, I was speaking to him when I asked him that, do you think technology will fail us? And he made a lot of, you know, sense when he said it can never be, you know, network issues can happen. Anything can happen at that point. But now the problem, which a lot of Nigerians are asking, is that how do we now determine that, you know, there is a network problem here? Then they now tell us that they want to go manually. So those are questions that, you know, we really need to look at. But let's not forget that there was a point that the INEC server recorded 12 million cyber attacks during, you know, the presidential poll as well.
That's right.
So my fear is that, you know, at what point do we now know that we need to go to manual? At what point do we know that the internet is working? So these are things that we need to check, because right now Nigerians want a lot of credibility. And I feel like the reason why we're having all these conversations is because we want 2027 to be a free and fair election. We want everybody's votes to count. At the end of the day, we want accountability. We don't want, after the election, people are blamed. Of course, you know, opposition will want to blame INEC here or there, but we just want a free and fair election.
Absolutely.
And it also hurts me that, you know, we're politicizing this, because this is not about politics. This is about the rights of the citizens. This is about citizens asking for accountability. So at the end of the day, Joash Amopita, I don't envy that man. There's a whole lot, you know, he needs to do, because a lot of people.
He had option. He would have said, yes, I will take it. Or
no, but you don't know.
But now he has taken it.
He has taken the challenge upon himself.
Absolutely.
So there are so many things that he has to put in place.
That's
because
right.
a lot of people are looking at INEC with close eyes.
Yeah, so if you look at the Nigerian Tribune, it's just saying the same thing. Senate okays e-transmission of election results, manual backup. So the thing is, transmit the election results. In fact, there is even one of the words used by the Electoral Act, transfer, right? So what we do is we still have to go to IREV. During the Anambra election, we saw results uploaded before it was announced. Almost 97 or even 98% of all the results uploaded. Even the same thing in 2023. But if you go to places like Lanlate, Shekweteri, I think Igboho, go to, you know, those are places that I've actually been to, and I know what I actually went through when it comes to network services. They had network, but there are some places. We had debates, serious debate, heated debate yesterday in this studio on Eco Atlantic. It was on what?
Oh, yes, yeah.
On network?
Very interesting. I think all of this boils down to the issue of trust. And Nigeria's unfortunately embattled relationship with INEC in past elections. The House is essentially saying that that is admissible that they're going to make sure that there's an electronic transmission of results. That's However, right. In the event that there are internet failures, the caveat is that manual transmission, aka from EC8A, will be deployed. Now, what is from EC8A and why is it so critical? From EC8A is essentially the foundation of the entire result collation chain. It has polling unit details, number of accredited voters, but something that is an issue here is that from if from EC8A is deployed, the document results are transferred, Ibrahim, like you said, from ward to local government area to state, down to the national, up to the national level. So it passes various hands. This is a manual result that will pass various hands, and so people don't trust from EC8A because it is going to be held in place by the electoral officer, and the electoral officer is not technology. He has feelings. things. He might have a price, he might have an input, and that is where the issue comes in, the issue of trust.
I think one thing they also mentioned is to the deployment of incident forms,
yes,
which is largely disputed. When you have issues at the but from ECATA would not only be signed by the presiding officer, it will also be signed by the party agents who are there.
Some security observers can also sign.
So with that, after signing, you also get a copy. So whatever it is, you also upload the same copy on the IREV. So I do not think that should even cause,
But Ibrahim, I think why that is happening is because,
Ibrahim, in spite of that character of the form EC8A, we've had party agents say, the figure that is announced is not the figure I signed.
Yes, there's been disparities in the
We've
past.
had that over and over again, and that's why people are not very trusting when it comes to the integrity.
But you know that people also made spurious allegations. Allegations that were not even true, because at the time they harmonized all of. Okay, Obi brought almost a truckload of different ballot papers and evidence and all of that. The court said, "Come on." And even some of those evidence were not even provided. And the judge said, should I go to the street and be looking for evidence for you?
And that's the thing I'll say, Ibrahim. I feel like that's why I'm saying 2027, people need to regain trust in INEC. The whole reason why we're having this conversation is that people
the matter of trust, I think people choose who they want to trust.
Exactly. And people,
depending on where,
I get what you're saying, Ibrahim,
but
let me drop this here. Let me drop this here. I tell you something. The reason why we're having this conversation that which hand will he pass? Will he pass this hand? Will he pass that hand? Is because people do not trust INEC. So what we should do right now is to make sure that INEC is that body that people really, really trust. I tell you, when there is trust, these conversations will actually not be having this conversation.
Absolutely. Let's move on because of our time. Time is really fast.
We're still talking about
the Business Nigeria is saying Lagos and Abuja housing costs soar. Tenants struggle as rent outpays salaries.
I'm struggling.
Everybody is struggling, not just you, my dear. And the funny thing.
Wait, let me ask my question.
Don't ask. Don't ask. This is
take it off.
This is a passionate thing.
You are not alone, bro.
Look, even house owners that happen to build in one estate or the other, they are spending money.
That's right.
I mean, how do you expect somebody whose salary is 250,000 naira to pay a house rent of 1.5 or 2.5 or 3.5? It just doesn't make sense.
That's right.
So the question for me is, how do we control this? Because it's as if the real estate sector is not organized. Everything is done according to whatever this person. So one landlord champions this and the rest take it, and that becomes the norm.
Ibrahim, so for me, I work with a lot of real estate people, so I understand their grievances. They'll tell you that, building materials are very expensive. That's why we've increased the rent. But then I always tell them that no matter how expensive it is, there are some places they put the rent that it doesn't just make sense. Ibrahim, I'm worried about our young ones. They are burnt out. Someone that just graduated from university, you're asking the person to pay a rent of 3 million, 4 million. Where do you expect them to get the money from? Now, there's this pandemic that is happening at Etoma. You're living in a house. Let's say your rent is 6 million. The landlord can tell you that the next year you are paying 18 million or 12 million. The way they just increase it like that. I think that is something that we really need to regulate. If we don't regulate it, we'll be in a very big problem that people will not even be able to afford house rent.
Absolutely.
And a friend of mine, she packed out of her house. She was living in a 3-bed. She had to pack out to move to a 1-bed because of how they increased her rent.
Olamide, some people are having to even move away from Lagos and Abuja to environs. Abuja, they go to Nasarawa, some go to Niger. In Lagos, even going to Ogun State.
Even in Ogun State, the houses are not even expensive.
Even in Ibadan, houses are getting expensive. They tell you, go back to Lagos. You think Lagos is easy to stay? And families are now having to budget for rent as against their own health, because they feel if they do not pay their rent and look after their own health, then where are they going to sleep? They are not going to sleep under the bridge. So this is really, really affecting. Imagine house rents rising from like 100%, 20% or whatever it is to 300%, 400%. It's so sad. Are you living for the landlord or are you living for yourself?
Absolutely. We're definitely in a housing crisis. And I think theoretically, when we look at how Lagos operates, I've said this before, this is just Lagos as a case study. We live in a dual city rhetoric. And what I mean by that is, the rich have no problem pushing out the poor, and agents are taking advantage of that. They are aware that there are people who, if you're not willing to pay that 7 million, there's somebody there that will pay that 7 million for parent, and you are now forced to migrate to the edges of society. And if you look at the people who actually live on the mainland, you guys, the people who are living in Ogun State and are increasingly living on the fringes of society, that is the workforce of Lagos. The people in every society that you see that are coming from far every day, they are the people that keep this city running.
Yes.
So they should be able to live on the island and have affordable housing because they are mass contributors.
Ibrahim, they say that do not rent a house from a landlord that his main source of income is that house. You are finished.
How would you know?
Just know that you have to check and know because that means you are working for the landlord.
Less than two caretakers or agents in Lagos.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you ask me what the government should do to them, they should be in jail by now.
I've seen some states like I think Oyo and some other states
very effective. They should be in jail.
Yes,
how can you increase rent of 1 million to 4 million?
And I think, Ibrahim, I think the word is greed. The word is actually
we should
greed.
just try to regulate the real estate sector. We should make it. We should have rules and regulations.
Exactly, and we have rules.
We have rules.
Another issue that we have is that the real estate sector is highly privatized. Right. We need more government schemes.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Our lead, what's it called, producer is a landlord, so he won't want us to dwell much.
No, but he's a fantastic landlord.
No, definitely you can. But it's just that we can all live in his house. All right, then let's move on to the platform times. Nigeria retains position among world's most corrupt nations. Because of our time, I think it's quite interesting we talk about politics. The Hope newspaper is saying, Rivers crisis, what Tinubu told Wike Fubara at peace meeting. That's according to investigation. As FCT minister, governor depart state housed in same vehicle. So they came in separate vehicles, they left together. So how come, they were able to do this? Because the president was, mediated, between them. Fubara, why is it that you're working as a governor? I mean, you're running the affairs of the state without commissioners. Why are you not in tandem, in good condition with the House of the member of House of Assembly? So you should resolve this matter, and he was able to do it. So they had to live together, laughing. Do you think that's the last we're going to hear of the crisis?
I hope it is the last we're going to hear because this story has too many branches. Kudos to Mr. President, whatever he told them. I wish I was in that meeting to know. But the two.
No, I mean, Mr. President is a fantastic mediator when it comes to issues. He knows how to do compromises. So just leave this. You take this. Wike, you two focus on what I've given you to do.
Okay. So he did that, and. The refreshing thing was that Wike came and was saying good things about Fubara, and Fubara came out and was saying good things about Wike. Beautiful, but what about the House of Assembly? What about that speaker? What about those other branches? Maybe that's where Fubara has to go back to Rivers State.
That's right.
And do the same thing Mr. President did for him.
We are out of time. Ria, just less than a minute if you can, Olamide.
All right, and I think it's a beautiful one. Oftentimes we've seen the president just come in between and make sure that he brings peace and tranquility, and that's what we want to see. I'm happy that they all went in the same car. I want them to be in the same car for a very long time. I don't want anybody. I don't want anybody to jump out. I don't want anybody to jump out, of the car. I think that peace would really work. So I love when the president always intercedes to make sure that peace works. So what we need to see is going forward is development, because over 2 years it's been battle forth and back. Yeah.
There are several issues that require the president's attention other than being a mediator between two grown leaders, but it's great that the president took that discretion.
Amazing. That's it. Who lives in a stone, in a glass house does not throw stones. All right then, thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. Coming up, Senate backs electronic results transmission while keeping manual processes in place for network failures. We'll be right back.